All right, let's see if I can do one of these right now. Might be tricky because June is right over there in a basket looking to play. And when she sees the screen out, she wants to touch it. Am I actually going to upload this to YouTube? I really don't have something to say. I turn this on to kind of stick with the daily rhythm of it. Okay, what can I work through? So I've got my states theme for the week, thinking about different states and how to switch between them, cycle between them, and made teeny tiny bit of headway in terms of listing them. I don't really have there's more to do on that front. Let's see if I can do it now. What am I doing right now? This is a state of me kind of lost in thought, involved in thought, but I'm trying to put new articulations on something, putting words on it, trying to get somewhere with my thought process. So I'm lost in thought, but it's not like a kind of daydreaming, imagining type of thing. It's more of a brainstorming, trying to make some kind of thought sausage. I'm hoping there's going to feel like there's some kind of product at the end of this. And then little June is over there. So there's this thinking and articulating state that I'm in, but I am adjacent to the state where I look over at June and pay attention to what she is expressing and think about what she needs. I've got like one ear to being available to her, although frankly she'd probably have to kind of shout or kind of sound the alarm in order to really kind of fully hook my attention. But if she'd hook my attention, I would turn to her. It's hard though, not hard. It's easier. I think it would be a lot easier to do this, of course, if I didn't have this 1 year towards June. And I don't like that sort of state of being torn between two things and maybe kind of resenting one or the other. I don't like the idea, of course, of resenting your kids or your family, of getting in the way of something else that you either want to do or need to do or feel a need to do. In terms of having 1 ear, that language of having 1 ear or being kind of on call. There we go, that's language, being on call. I have really, I guess this week, really made some kind of personal statement to myself about wanting to reduce the number of hours in the day where I feel like I'm on call for screening room work, and really be like, okay, with each day I only want to have so many, sort of like a set or maybe fixed, limited, bounded number of hours where I am working on anything cinema work related. And what would that mean? I mean, for starters, I could define the number of hours and log my time. I could say, okay, 3 hours or 4 hours. This would be my maximum for a day. And being clear too when I'm off the clock. I mean, the thing is, there would always still have to be this larger window of time where I'm potentially working on cinema work, and because I'm generally kind of on call and looking after June all through the day and the evening. But yeah, even if maybe there's a window of 4 or 5 hours, 4 hours maybe during the day when it's potentially cinema work time. I mean, really might only be like 2 hours. I get 2 hours of work done. I've more. And then and of course there's also the time after the girls go to bed. But yes, I would like to have this more fixed and limited concept of how much work I can do, and then have to, assume commitments within it. Sometimes when I do go through a streak of getting a lot of things done, or I'm starting to feel more on top of things and I'm feeling very capable, and often the more, kind of capable or productive you feel, then you feel like you can kind of then all of a sudden take on more, like, oh, that was easy, or oh, my throughput's really high right now. Yeah, let's take on the next thing because I'm totally killing it. And then there's too much, you get overwhelmed or you fall behind, and that's like, oh, I don't want to do this. Or maybe you've kind of taken on some kind of priority or project that really you don't, if you weren't kind of in your best state, you really don't want to do. Oh yeah, in terms of best state, I remember, there was a book about, it was called How to Be an Adult in Relationships. They had a section about how, in terms of labeling sort of 3 qualities of state, where say you can be at your normal or functioning. So say there's sort of your normal functioning level, something that maybe is kind of sustainable day to day. And then there's sort of your best self, or kind of best functioning, when things seem actually more kind of optimal and maybe really in the flow, and this generosity of spirit, and maybe you're capable of some kind of excellence. And then there's sort of below average functioning, maybe you're feeling a bit stressed or sad or depressed or bitter, stuck, resentful. And that's when maybe maybe your capacity won't be as great. Also, you will have less sort of generosity of spirit, maybe more likely to say or do things that are regrettable or ineffective. So there's 3. I feel like that 3 is the right number to describe, I guess, that quality of functioning. But yes, that's sort of along a different dimension. But yeah, in terms of arenas, so there's family. I also identified home. So that could be one kind of tidying up. Work responsibilities. Social, which overlaps with work and family. Have more to do with friends. It's funny when it comes to my family back in Victoria, I guess, that's different from family I live with here. Is that more so? It's a little more social. Could put it in that bucket. What are these buckets? What types of buckets are these? I guess these are arenas. I would call these each arenas. And then there's it's called the life of the mind arena, which is the one that I'm in right now. And when I do this kind of thing, or posting to Twitter or any other kind of expressive mediums. What about reading? What about when I'm like reading something or listening to an audio book? I guess one could kind of break apart that life of the mind arena. One is when it's sort of that there's one where it's more kind of, the kind of creative, expressive is one side, and then the other one is more taking in input, consuming. Sometimes you're tired and you just maybe want some me time, and then it's just more about reading something that one finds interesting. Interesting. Despite the word interesting, I guess there's the kind of following one's nose interest. But then there is also, like I say, it's that sort of a reading assignment. And it's not quite the following one's nose. There's some kind of prior sense of like, okay, this is important. Like, you've identified this as something important to you to kind of read, or you have a project. And maybe, I could say it's more of a project that is steering your reading. When I say project, it makes me think you can be limited in terms of the number of projects you have. So one could say maybe in each arena, limit one's number of projects. Now I'm just going to say projects, project. So this is project was like throwing using Vervaeke's language, it's like throwing a spear into the future. But what's sort of the opposite of a project? Or not the opposite. I mean, maybe it's more imminent, or that kind of moment. Just sort of where you kind of find yourself in the moment. Like, oh, this is, where you're like, oh, I guess this is just what's happening now. So maybe that is the imminent. I'd like to look up this word imminent. So this is a project of mine will be look up the word imminent. This is related to, Forrest Landry's what is imminent metaphysics, and then my little obsession with that triangle. So there's actually the imminent, like that's just sort of this being in the moment. Kids are just here I am. Right now, this is the state I find myself in, and I'm just noticing what's right there. What is present right there. Noticing what is present right in this moment. So that's imminent. And then the omniscient. Oh, hey Steve.
Oh, you're gonna call?
No, I'm not. I'm recording a video of myself talking. I'm just thinking out loud, sorting my thoughts, and I'm doing it on video.
Can I ask you a quick
Hold
question?
on.